Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff. Welcome to WYR Reforging. Oh, forgot to get the music going. Boom, there we go. So this is my normal Friday show where I hang out with y'all. We review the news for the week that came out from Games Workshop and have kind of a main topic for each week. Now, this is one that I've done a few times and people really seem to like it. I get tons of emails and comments saying that they love this kind of stuff. I'll explain the rules of how it works, but we're doing another date night, which is just a chance to get to know you and kind of laugh and tell some stupid stories and kind of keep it hobby related. So that's what we're going to be doing today and really enjoy it. So with that out of the way, how this works is I'm going to do each segment, and then in between segments, I'll open it up to comments and questions. I would love to interact with you guys as much as possible. So let's dive into hobby progress, okay? So as many of you guys know, if you haven't watched it, I did a hobby haul video where I unboxed a metric ton of ogre mod tribes. Let me just move the chat so I can see it a little bit clearer. Okay, looks like we got Jack, we got Morty, and hey. There we go. Move it to my left a little bit so I can see it out of the side of my eye. So I got a whole bunch of ogre mod tribes, and we're going to be playing a little bit of a game here with them later. But many of them are unpainted and unprimed, so they're just gray plastic. And some were primed with like either white or gray sear, it looks like. And then some they had already started contrast painting like this. Now, I am someone who is loath to strip models just because it's annoying and takes time. And I'm one of those guys that's like, I could just paint over it and fix it up. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So I got my one test model here. And as you can see, I wanted to keep it pretty dark. I have a whole bunch of the texture paints, the Martian iron something. He's going to have like red rock earth beneath him. And so I wanted like dark pants, and I wanted this red tattoo to really pop. And it's like doing multiple lines across him, and so that's essentially what they're going to be. Now, it doesn't pick up really well here. I'll be doing a video later on with some more close-up shots, but essentially what I did was I took the contrast. It looks like Gilliman flesh, and some of them have Fire Slayer flesh just because there's two different tones of skin, and built it up, added more shadows, and built in some highlights and stuff like that. So on camera, these probably don't look super different with their skin tones. But yeah, I feel like you have to eat a full English if you're painting ogres this early. That's awesome. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. So the theme behind my ogres, I've settled on, is they're going to be from Akshi, Realm of Fire. And so all of the little like mouth and tooth iconography, it's all going to be like molten kind of red, like glowing with heat. And the idea is, it's a mod tribe that encircles a giant mountain with a volcano coming out the side. So it looks like if you're walking towards this mountain, it's a sharp, jagged peaks and then this giant mouth facing you. It's like drooling lava and that kind of stuff. And that fire consumes all, just as the mod tribes consume all. So I'm working on that backstory a little bit by bit, but I wanted a fire-themed maw thing. And that's what I'm working on. So again, the pants are kind of drab. You can't quite see it here, but they're black pants with, I did a gray highlight just on the sharpest edges. And then I took a dry brush of corn red and just worked in a little bit of warmth to it. And so it really does pop. I have some before and after pictures that I'm going to do a special video for. Just kind of going over how I did it. But today, during our main segment later, we're going to be repainting up our tyrant. And his cape and stuff is going to be, I think orange is what I wanted to go with. His pants will be black as well. And we're going to add some like fire and flames and stuff to the different ridges of this armor and make his weapon glow red hot. I actually tried, you can see on our test guy, I did like a warmth, like where it gets darker red here and builds up lighter. So I wanted this to be like a hunk of like molten rock kind of a thing. And it looks great here. But I tried it on the swords as well. This is my test model. And I did not like the way it looked, simply because the swords are too flat. Like, it looked so flat that it just wasn't transitioning the color well enough. I just didn't care for it. In sharp contrast to the tyrant, because he's so much newer of a sculpt, I'm not sure how well it picks up here, but like he has a spear, and then there's actually a little ridge that goes along it, and that's more detailed to catch. So I think his will look more interesting as a glowing red weapon than theirs. So I'm going to rust effect the snot out of those. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. It's good. It's a nice little break from my Imperial Fists, which I have now 3 units done. So I can hopefully start doing combat patrol pretty soon. So that is it for my hobby progress. Like I said, I take a break in between each segment to discuss things with people and hang out with folks. So friends, what have you all been working on? And what are your thoughts on kind of my design idea for my tyrants? So, or not tyrants, but the actual Maw tribes. Later, while you're answering that, I'm gonna go ahead and just keep chatting. When we do our main topic, essentially what I'm going to do is bust out the battle tome, go to the Path to Glory section, and on camera we're going to roll for what reinforcements I get, and that's going to dictate what I paint next. So it's going to be a mismatch, but that's alright. I have a tyrant, 2 units of gluttons, the minimum size, just 3 dudes. And so those are my must paints, and then everything beyond that is going to be kind of a sequence as determined by Path to Glory. Let's see, we got Mordians painting up a Primus Apothecary. Sweet. I dig it. I dig that. That's actually one of my favorite models. Just his power pose of him holding like the Narthecium or whatever it's called, his little tool. I like it. Jack says your tyrant looks pretty good. Yeah, the tyrant was actually painted by the previous owner. And, you know, it's one of those things like, I don't care for the colors he went for, but the fact that it's all blocked out with contrast and stuff like that makes it so much easier for me. Blocking out the initial colors is kind of a pain in the butt. And so now I can just go through, pick the things that I like, that I don't. Like, I'm not going to honestly build up any more lead belcher. He already did a great job with that. Why would I bother? So, that kind of stuff. Any way I can cheat, I do when it comes to painting. I'm on the fence to paint for my 4th army. Should be Gloomspite Gits or Ogres. Still having 3 mostly unpainted armies. Paint them up. That's my thought. Paint them up before you jump into something else, especially Gloomspite Gits, because that army requires so many models. It's going to seem very daunting if you have that on your shelf, just collecting dust. Like, the ogres, at least, you know, you can have a pretty small ogre army if that's what you're looking for, but Gloomspite Gits can get very overwhelming very quickly. It's just a warning to you, but do whatever you'd like. Let's see. I feel like pelt, like zebra or cheetah colors over fur. Could do a lot for that fire theme. Yeah, that'd be cool. I might look into that, because he does have that like fur. So his pants are going to be one color, but the cloak could be something else. It's a good idea. At least, because it's like different things all stitched together, so at least one of them having like a true animal feel might be a really cool idea. Check that out. Wargamer Willie, hey Doug, super glad to make another live stream. Also, the date night questions are always fun. Yeah, we'll get there for folks who haven't been here before. Now, normally at this point, I would talk about games played. Obviously, there's not a lot of games being played. If you want to hang out with me when I do stuff, today I hope to have a schedule out for doing gaming, like actual gaming on the computer. I want to start focusing on Warhammer Underworlds, because that's a game I want to get into with Dire Chasm. But other than that, I've really been enjoying, earlier this week we had a Vermintide stream where 3 other viewers hopped on with me, and I had an absolute blast. Like, it was my favorite part of the day, just hanging out with people who watch the channel and stuff. It went really smooth. Super appreciated it. That's like a memory to me, just hanging out with people that watch the channel. So I don't like a cherished memory is what I meant. But then we also did some Total War, a campaign. I'm going to skip through the boring parts of the campaign, like where you're just accruing money and resources to start an army, that kind of stuff. But we'll tune back into the High Elves here in a bit. So don't you fear that. So that's exactly what we got going on today. TP Grant, hey. So yeah, no real games played outside of those. So we're going to move into the next thing pretty quickly, which is talking about the news. So we're going to head over to the Games Workshop page. And what I do is I go through the last week of articles that were posted to the community site. and I just pick out the ones that really interest me, and I kind of go somewhat in order of things that interest me the least to the most, so we end on an exciting note. And so that's exactly what we're going to do here, and this is mainly for folks who work. Honestly, I've gotten several messages from folks who are truckers because they can't stop and read the community pages, and so they just appreciated walking through them every week, and so that's exactly what this is all about. See, take over Mars, Dougie D. Hey. Had a wonderful Thanksgiving with my lovely wife. So, starts off with Necromunda. If you know, I love Necromunda as a setting. I think it's phenomenal. And one thing I wanted to point out, and we'll come back to it in a bit, is for their specialist games, they seem very willing to give us a glimpse into the future that they don't do for their main games. By that I mean either outlining what factions are coming up next, some cool models that have come out previously. This one's more of like a check out all these cool kits that you may have missed in all the hype for 40k, but I do kind of want these ogres. These guys are rad. I could definitely make them look like they're supposed to be from, I don't know, Chamon or something like that. And they give us like a cool roadmap, and I think this is super valuable, and it's something I wish they did more for AOS and 40k. You know, they've gotten better with 40k when it comes to Take Over Mars. We'll get to that article. Yeah, that's absolutely the one I'm going to read through in more detail. So I'm very excited. Yeah, I don't know. They're making this weird change from the current way they do stuff of having one gang book for all the gangs and kind of switching into kind of like a codex style thing where you pick your gang and then you get your book for them, and then all the rules that they ever need are in there. Now, what's interesting is, if you look at this roadmap, they have reinforcements, House of Faith, House of Shadows, that covers all the basic gangs, and then they have this thing, which is just a picture of the Hive, and I would love it if they redid the game to make it more streamlined, but that's just my opinion. Not everyone really digs that. These guys are super baller looking, look at that. Okay, that's it for Necromunda. Now, Total War and Warhammer go mobile. This is something we chatted about on my live stream talking about Warhammer Total War, and that they are bringing Total War in some capacity to mobile games. Now, I have to imagine it's going to be a bit different than just standard Total War, because that would just like melt your phone. I didn't see anything specifically saying it's coming to phones, because mobile could also mean like iPads and that kind of stuff, which have a much stronger processor. What my only concern here with these things is, once you get into the mobile territory, now you're talking about pay to win, right? Or pay to speed things up and that kind of stuff, and that can get really hairy. So I will admit that I am pretty dubious of this, mainly because I just don't like mobile games, if I'm honest with you. I don't use my phone for that style of entertainment, but I know a lot of folks do. But we'll see. They've been killing it, with this IP as far as like the Total War stuff. So I can't imagine they're just gonna like release a total crap product, right? I mean, I think. But anyway, so we'll get there, and got some cool artwork. Oh, that's a super cool piece. I love that. Carl Franz on the Griffin. Got a little. Oh, that's nice. So, what is it? Experience stunning scenes of fantasy warfare. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of gameplay, like in terms of like user interface that they're going through. They did announce. Let's see. We got a new expansion. That's right, for Total War, the actual Total War game. Spectre says, "Hey Doug, you could easily tone the graphics way down. Total War Rome is the full game for a set price." Really? Oh man, I lost so much of my high school years to Rome Total War. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Y'all are talking about the Slaanesh article. We will get there. Oh wait, that was our customary reminder. Most important thing, of course, customary reminder that Warhammer Old World exists in some mysterious capacity that we're not going to talk about. By we, I mean Games Workshop. I like how they just kind of slip in this reminder every once in a while of like, hey guys, we're working on it. One thing that they threw up yesterday for Thanksgiving here in the US, and obviously everybody else can reap the rewards, are a whole bunch of really cool backgrounds. The first section is cool backgrounds for a desktop, which are obviously the wider ones. And I don't know, if your army's there, grab it. Why not? I like free stuff. Free stuff's always good. And if you scroll down, you have some more for, these are more for mobile, right? Where you have your background for your phone. I like them. I think they're fun. Nothing else. Free stuff is free stuff. Anyway, that's all a small one, but it stood out to me because it's a cool little way to interact with things. But next, we have Meta Watch. Now, this is kind of a divisive thing. Not so much on my channel, but a lot of folks are not interested in Games Workshop discussing the competitive side of things. And I have to say, the first Meta Watch for AOS, it was a lot about the statistics of like who was playing what, right? What are the overall things when we talk about the balance of the game, right? What factions make up the majority of the play experience for folks. And now we're getting into what I think is more interesting. This is super hilarious, by the way. This is the greatest cartoon ever made. Of like, how do some of those players build those factions? We have great insight from Alex Cron, who I've seen his name in the community, never interacted with him to my knowledge, but hey, just based on this, he seems like a really, really cool guy. And he's talking about Carriage and Overlords, goes through a few builds that you can build, and using battalions is always good to me. Of course, there's the Warp Lightning Vortex that everyone hates. And yeah, I think... I don't know. I think it's just wonderful. Let's see here. Got a question here from Josh. Do you think we'd be able to mix in AOS free guild models with the old world game modes? We have no idea. Like, honestly, not even cynical. Part of me thinks that, like, first of all, we know they're going to be on square bases. That's how they announced the game. So that just is what it is. Secondly, like, at some point, they're going to have to make people buy things to pay for all the R&D that went into creating the game and the printing and all this kinds of stuff. And so I just have to imagine there's going to be a different model line. Personally, if I'm being honest, I'd love if it was a redo of War Master, where it's just a different scale of game. It's not 32 millimeter models. It's zoomed out. It's like 8 millimeter models. And it's like, you move huge blocks of infantry because honestly, that's kind of what people like to do in Total War. So that would be my thought. That's what I'd like anyway. I have no evidence to back any of that stuff up. It is what it is. And then we move into, the KO stuff. It's cool. There's some great information here. But KO is an army where, much like Fire Slayers, with the exception of the boats, a lot of these guys can look very samey. But when we move into Julien Deveau, again, seems like a really cool guy. Never met him. But he talks through a Cities of Sigmar list that I just find so cool. And of course, the wheelhouse of models they have access to is just massive. And I love this army that he put together because of the diversity of models. So essentially you have Engine Master, Free Guild General, and a Rune Lord, which automatically is just... Oh, it's a Free Guild General on Griffin specifically. That's cool. Battle line is Iron Drakes, Iron Breakers. All right. But what I love about it is if you look on the right side here, he's got 2 units of Demigryph Knights, which you just don't see a whole lot of. And I love that stuff. A unit of 3 Gyrocopters, Shadow Warriors, Engine Riggers. Like, I love the mix of units. And frankly, like, this is the kind of army that if I had an unlimited budget, I would absolutely build this today. Not for power gaming reasons. I didn't actually read like how specifically he uses this in a way to, achieve victory. But what I mean is, like, for the Demigryph Knights, I've mentioned it before, I would love to use the Adeptus Mechanicus mechanical horse dudes, and I would modify them, kit bash them with free guild stuff. Gyrocopters I love. Shadow Warriors, I don't know much about that kit in terms of its, versatility. But like the rest of it, it just seems it seems like it's a list that's begging to be converted, and I absolutely love that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I don't know how well it does. It's on Meta Watch. I assume it's a competitive list. I don't know how it would function. I don't really know much about Tempest Eye. but I just think it just looks like a ton of fun, right? I don't know. Are there any models with mechanical wings? I'm trying to think like large mechanical wings that I could use on the Griffin. I don't know. I guess, large mechanical wings. That would be the new AdMech Flyer. Has like the, what do you call it? Like, where it's like, it looks like bird wings and they have like tapestry, but there's all kinds of gears and stuff. So that could be like a really amazing conversion army that I would love to see. Like I said, if I just woke up and had like $1 million, it'd be the first thing I do. But it is what it is. And that's pretty much it for this article. I just wanted to point out that they are doing more discussions of the Meta Watch and all that kind of stuff, and I just really like it. Lazy Monkey. Reaper Minis made a clockwork dragon. Nice. That one Dark Angel dude has some. Okay, I haven't seen him. Next one. Again, these are going in order of what I find most interesting. And we have Warhammer Underworlds, the Dire Chasm release. Now, we know that Dire Chasm is coming in the next couple of weeks. They said that on the when they did the last preview stream. They acknowledged the fact that they previewed Slaves to Darkness, and they had to acknowledge, like, yeah, we actually kind of got a little bit behind on that one, because they keep previewing warbands for a game that doesn't exist yet, right? Dire Chasm as the next season, so it's just kind of funny. As far as the warbands that are coming out, obviously the Dire Chasm set has Lumineth and the Slanesh side, which we'll get to in a sec. And then the Warriors of Chaos are coming, followed by we have our Seraphon warband, of which we've only really seen one model, so that is exciting. February is going to be a big month for Seraphon players, simply because we get to see what they would be the newest designs or newest iteration or take on that army in many years. And so I don't think that they're going to get a whole uber release of all these new kits and that kind of stuff. All they've promised is an Underworlds warband. However, getting a chance to see, like, okay, what would a Saurus warrior look like, for example, with new visions of designs and that kind of stuff? What would that look like? They teased another model just today. Let's see, is it in this article? I don't know. And then after that, we have this cool little bat head, which makes me excited because based on the pose, we know it's not a flesh eater court. He's standing too upright. He's got too much confidence and swagger. So what is it? A lot of folks thinking vampires, and so I would absolutely welcome that. Next to them, this could certainly be what, like a bone splitters thing? It's green, makes me think destruction. It's made out of bones. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. May, I'm thinking Ossiarch Bone Reapers, because this looks exactly like the chest plate and all that kind of stuff. And then we have here June. That looks similar to the Daughters of Cain or Shadowy Elves kind of thing. But yeah. So let's read it through here real quick, just because people are saying it's in the article. So let's see. Nothing up there. We can't wait to tell you about these incredible new warbands, and we're going to be doing it in a regular series of articles. On the last Friday of every month, we'll have a revamped Cataphrane Chronicle, which is like their news segment, blog post thing. In each installment, the minds behind Warhammer Underworlds will talk through some of the design choices for the game. Last one is Ideneth. Oh, that could absolutely be Ideneth. You are correct. It's an Elvish thing. We know that. Then on the first Friday of the month, we'll have new Visions of Glory column, which give you a look ahead at forthcoming releases, including models, cards, and new mechanics. Cool. So Visions of Glory. Here we have the warband we've already seen previewed, which I absolutely love. I'm going to be grabbing it. Quite honestly, this is the warband I'm most excited for. It occurred to me I still actually have my entire warband for the Beasts of Chaos, so as long as I can get some generic cards and that kind of stuff, I'm all set for them. Two sisters lead the warband, while Kaga the Usurper was honing her skills on the battlefield. Zarshia Bittersoul was poring over arcane scrolls. I love it. I love it. And here is that second Seraphon model that was talked about. Thank you guys so much for pointing that out. I'm going to assume this is the leader of the warband, right? It's a Star Priest, or whatever they call it, like the Skink Priests kind of guy. And I absolutely love it. He's got a nice power pose. One of the things I didn't like about skinks was they didn't look very dynamic, and so this flips that on its head. I wonder if it's going to be a skink warband, and then later they can do like a Saurus warband, or if they'll throw a Saurus warrior in. They're certainly not opposed to mixing up sub-factions when it comes to Underworld stuff. So I think that is it. We won't say too much about Kixitaka right now, but the mysterious sphere in their left hand could have major ramifications for Dire Chasm. He does in fact have a Pokeball, Lady Grey called it. That's fantastic. There absolutely needs to be, a Pokeball. He chucks the ball in one square next to him, or one hex, and I don't know, Carnosaur appears. It's shaping up to be an incredible few months for Underworlds. Again, it says you'll be able to pre-order the new Dire Chasm box set soon. I'm really excited about it. Honestly, I don't know. My biggest thing in the Seattle area was I couldn't find anyone to game with. But here, Underworlds and Warcry are actually more popular in my little niche in Iowa than AOS is. And that's fine. That's totally cool with me. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get into the game now that I have some people to game with. And I'm going to be learning, which is a process on streams and that kind of stuff with the Underworlds online. So stick tuned for news for that. And then the last article, the one we're going to spend the most time on, is Sigvald the Magnificent is back and he's brought friends. This one's kind of a lore heavier one. So last weekend, we revealed the new incarnation of the classic Warhammer hero, Sigvald the Magnificent, along with some of his Slaanesh worshipping allies. Today we're taking a look at who the Prince of Slaanesh is, how he made the jump to the Mortal Realms, and just what's going on with his stylish Hedonite pals. Origins. For some 300 years before the end times, Sigvald the Magnificent blighted the world that was. A champion of Slaanesh renowned for his physical beauty and prowess with a blade. He rose to command a vast warband of utterly devoted followers. Dark rumors of the circumstances of his birth and childhood abounded, but the only truth that mattered was that Sigvald had bartered his soul to the Dark Prince in exchange for eternal life, beauty, and immense power. During the end times, Sigvald... I should clarify. Here's the old model he was. Then when AOS dropped, he was just like a Chaos Lord of Slaanesh. During the end times, Sigvald fought with the White King Krell, one of the great necromancer's most trusted lieutenants, taking a grievous and scarring wound. In his fury, Sigvald destroyed the Revenant, only to be betrayed by his ally, Throg the Troll King. Yet none who are touched by the gods can escape their fate so easily. Now, I love the fact that Chaos Lords, once you sell your soul to the Dark Gods, they own you. So, I feel like I'm more cool with Chaos Warriors and Lords and that kind of stuff coming back, to be honest with you, in AOS. Okay, Rebirth. Abandoned by Slaanesh, the scraps of Sigvald's soul lingered in the void for an age until Nagash, now the god of death in the new worlds of the Mortal Realms, found them and claimed revenge for Krell's destruction. The great necromancer trapped Sigvald's essence in a shade glass mirror that would reflect only an idealized image of whoever gazed into it, ensuring Sigvald could never be seen again. Fitting revenge for one so vain. He cast the mirror into the pocket dimension of Ulghish, where it came to rest in the cursed city of Shadespire. Now, there's a lot there, and actually it's something I want to do a full video on because it ties together a few things that I've already mentioned in lore videos, where Shadespire is a city that Nagash damned, and that's the first season of Warhammer Underworlds, and part of it is they developed the technology for immortality. They call it Shade Glass, which is essentially a way to trap souls, so no one ever truly dies. But the twist on his was that he could only ever show the best versions of other people rather than you seeing Sigvald, which is the best punishment for someone who's just all about himself. So, I didn't even know Shadespire was in Ulghish. Yeah, I know that it was between realms. I don't specifically remember it being in Ulghish, to be honest with you, but interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I guess I didn't remember that either, because I remember he pulled it out of Shyish. But anyway, unknown to Nagash, Slaanesh was also trapped in Ulkish. Again, we knew that one. That one was for sure. The Dark Prince's gradual escape and growing power gave Sigvald some measure of awareness and control. So as Slaanesh is kind of sniping off some of his chains that bind him, his growing power is allowing Sigvald to gain some more, prescient, that kind of stuff, getting his brain back together. The mirror was eventually taken from Ulkish by Duarden privateers, before falling into the hands of a band of hedonite godseekers who unwittingly released Sigvald's essence. Reborn and empowered once more by the growing might of his god, Sigvald set out to unite the followers of Slaanesh in preparation for the Dark Prince's apotheosis. So, confirmed that it's not the newborn from Broken Realms Marathi. It's kind of bummer. I kind of wanted it to be him, to be perfectly honest with you. Because I thought it was going to be like, this new essence of Slaanesh comes out and it tries to find like vanity made manifest, which is exactly what Sigvald is. But this is cool too. This is cool. It's just not what I thought it was going to be. I like the idea that basically Duarden mercenaries were like looking for fancy things to sell, and then they ended up freeing a Chaos Lord. That's the kind of stupid cause and effect that happens in real life too. Oh man, what a wonderful model. He really is. It's funny, I love this angle so much more than the angle they show when they revealed, because if you're downward looking just a hair up at him, he just looks like a god, and it's just awesome. So we'll keep on going. Agony and Ecstasy. At the vanguard of Sigvald's army are the Mirmadesh Painbringers. To join the ranks of this cult, warriors must undergo 6 trials of excess, proving that they can set aside all temptations and focus on glorious combat. Armed with curved blades and elegant runic shields, Mirmadesh give up the individuality and all the pleasure of the flesh to focus on their art. They are simply killers, dedicated to bringing death in the most agonizing and aesthetically satisfying ways possible. So this is an interesting thing, right? Normally, I would have expected that they have to be the fullest, the most indulgent in all of their ecstasies. But nope, this is a pathway in an army that's all about excess. They are about shunning excess to one thing, right? So we're going to avoid temptations except for getting better at a swordsman. And that's kind of an interesting thing. And honestly, when they redo or drop a Hedonite's book or whatever they're going to do in the future, I think it's an interesting concept that the trials for the mortals are about denying excess with the exception of one, and you just go whole hog into that one. So what could that look like for the different aspects of Slaanesh? Like, what if you forego, say, warrior type things, and you focus on the excess of, food, for example. I want a big, chonky, fat Slaanesh hero who, buffs troops around him. That kind of stuff where, you can have all of a sudden, it's not about everyone being the craziest, that kind of thing, fighter and that kind of stuff. Now we can dive into each of the different temptations and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I like it. Louis says they look cool, but also way too much like Drukhari. Games Workshop has carried aesthetics from fantasy to 40k all the time because Drukhari are just space elves, space dark elves. So I'm going to wager. I'm going to say these are more OG than Drukhari because this is just carrying that idea forward. I don't know. I like them. And then the lure of hedonism is strong. Of course it is. And occasionally a Mirmadesh falters, seeking more than purity of murder. Such warriors make pacts with demons, becoming Slaanesh Simbaresh twin souls. They cast aside their helms, revel in individuality, gathering in bands and constantly trying to outdo one another. They are a fractious but effective weapon, empowered by the demons within them. Yet they're always just a heartbeat away from losing themselves entirely to the thirsting creatures to which they have bound their souls. So that's super rad. So they are functionally the same unit. This is a multi-kit. However, when the guys up top lose that discipline, that pure obsession with fighting, and they give in to the other things, then we get the second unit. And I love the idea of inviting demons into you and how it changes people like on a physical level. We talked about this during the reveal show, but basically there's a units in 40k and 30k where demons are invited into the host and it changes them. Like my favorite example is for the word bearers in Horus Heresy, where they have a unit called the Galvor Bach, which is just these weird mishmashes of demons and humans, and it warps their armor and their faces and all this kinds of crazy stuff. This is the same concept, just kind of looks a little bit different, and I am here for it. So yeah. And then it goes into the Underworlds, and it gives us a glimpse into... I think we've already seen this warband. Yeah, we have. I believe we have. Yes, because we were doing a pajama pants competition between these guys and Teclis. And so this is exactly what we get. I think this is all 4 of them. But the Slaanesh Gore over there on the left, the Slaanesh Gore, is just phenomenal. I don't know if there's going to be a whole range of them, but man, I sure hope there are. And then, yeah, I don't know. These guys just all look awesome. I would love this character right here in the bottom right to be like a Chaos Lord. What else? I don't know. I just think they look fantastic. Hopefully, these kinds of mortals in the back are what we're looking at when it comes to future Hedonite units. That would just make my day. Because honestly, I like them so much more than Demonettes. I don't care for Demonettes at all. Those Hedonites originally ventured into Beastgrave in search of Slaanesh, but soon discovered a new obsession, tormenting the sentient mountain itself. So Beastgrave is a living mountain, if you're not familiar, in Gur. Beastgrave feeds on death, and by torturing, rather than killing their foes, Vasilak the Gifted, I assume the leader of this warband, and his followers deny the mountain its very sustenance. The raw anguish this elicits is like the finest wine to the dread pageant. That's so cool. That's so cool. You'll find more about this warband very soon. Dire Chasm is up for pre-order in December. Vasilak, Hadzu, Glisset, and Slake Slash will make an excellent start to your collection for Hedonites of Slaanesh. Yeah. And then they just kind of offer you some Slaanesh demons for sale. Yeah, I never got into the demons, but man, if there was a full range of mortals and they all look as good as these guys do, I'd be all about that. All about that life. So anyway, that is it for the news we have here. Let me just pull up my questions for the next segment here. Give me one moment. What do y'all think? So I'm going to give some time here so y'all can give me your thoughts. What do you think about the news when it comes to all the Slaanesh goodness? And let me get my camera set up. We'll take it down here to the side where we can start painting. Let's see. There we go. Made my own mortals with Slaves to Darkness. It was okay. It was okay. I'm sure it looked great, buddy. Let's see. That warband has some strong Godsworn vibes. Yeah, I could see that. Let me get my chat here a little more organized. Let's see, we got that there. And my questions, pulling them up. I made mortal followers of Slaanesh, Craftworld, Eldar, or Drukhari. It makes sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Never thought I would consider starting Slaanesh. I'm a devout follower of Khorne. Nice. All right, so we're down here with our Tyrant. And we're going to play a game here before I start doing too much. We're going to open up our Path to Glory book. Now, I have received a question from somebody in a comment... from a painting progress video I did a while back, and they were saying, how do you not get overwhelmed when I buy some of these larger lots? Because people, if you follow the channel, you know, basically what I like to do is just paint an army up, sell it, and buy my next army like in one big lot. And so they were asking, like, how do you do that in a way that's not overwhelming? You have all these models all over the place. And I wanted to show one way that we can do this and have it be fun. we're going to play Path to Glory, but we're going to pretend that we've won a few games. And this is a way where you pick a few units and everything else goes into storage, right? You just put it off to the side. Don't let it overwhelm you visually. Keep a clean hobby desk and just focus on a few units at a time, and boom, you're good to go. So, I'm going to make some modifications to this, but essentially, I'm going to start with a Tyrant, because the hero I want to use, and I have 2 units back here of Ogre Gluttons. They're not going to count for our rolling for our Path to Glory army, because I wanted to have a hero and 2 battle line units. So, straight up, we have the Tyrant, and he gets, what, 3 rolls. Okay, so we got some dice here. And I can pick, let's see. Oh, they split it up between Gutbusters and Beastclaw Raiders. Let's see. Let's do, I think I have enough models for like dang near all of these, right? I don't have a scrap launcher. I do have 20 Noblars. Okay, we're going to focus on the retinue and elite retinue. So let's do 1 roll on the retinue. 1. 3 more Ogre Gluttons. Got it. Boom. Let's do 1 more on that same table. I got 3 rolls total, right? Oh, no, wait. Actually, let's do the elite one, because why not? 1 again. 6 Ogre Gluttons. I'm going to reroll that. Wait, do I even have... I was looking to see what I actually own. I might... Iron Guts, Lead Belchers, Iron Blaster. I'm kind of all over the place with what I own. Unfortunately, I have to reroll 1s, 2s, and 5s for the top one. My goodness. 3 1s in a row? Are you kidding me? There's a 6. 4 Iron Guts. I got those. I still have to prime them, but we'll get them. That's it. Okay, 1. Where's my other ones? 2. 1, 2, 3. And there's 1 more floating around here somewhere, hiding on me. Nah. Boom. They all look the same from the top. Alright. And so, with that, I have, what, 3, 6, 9 Ogre Gluttons and 1 unit of Iron Guts, along with my Tyrant. And now everything else I have, all these other Gluttons and stuff over here, they're going to go away into storage so they don't overwhelm me. And next time I think I might just choose a roll. I want to get this Iron Blaster. I like him. And that is it. Alright. And that's how you avoid burnout when it comes to painting. You just pick a few units, put everything else away, and boom, you're off to the races. So I'll move this off to the side. Get my paintbrushes ready. Foolish bickering undivided. That's funny. Now we're just going to paint and do a little bit of progress. I actually wanted to hang out yesterday, but one of my lights, I didn't charge the battery like a dingus. So, first thing I'm going to do is block out the colors that I think we need to redo. So I'm going to take some Abaddon Black. And I'm just going to make it clear, this is one of my mixing brushes, so if you see it sitting in the water, it's because it's dead to me. Let's see, Undivided, Favorite of None, Puppets of All. There we go. I love it. Hopefully just a puppet of Archeon, but you know. Let's see. Okay, so here's how the date night game works. Okay, if you're new to the channel, you're just tuning in. Essentially, I have a series of 19 questions. For some reason, I just couldn't quite get 20, apparently. I don't know, I did this a while back. 20 questions, and I try to keep them somewhat focused on AOS to keep it relevant. But I'm going to ask the question, and then I'm going to answer it. And while I'm answering the question itself, I ask that y'all join in and answer as well. And so after I finish, with my answer, I'll take a look at the chat, and we'll see what we have from other people's experiences. And it's just a fun way to get to know each other, hang out with one another in a meaningful way. Because honestly, I like doing this quite now in the day and age of COVID. Because I'll be honest, I get lonely. Been lonely a little bit recently. I know I'm locked up with my lovely, lovely wife, but she's not really much of a gamer, and so it's nice to be able to chat nerd stuff with people and just kind of share our hobby together. So that's kind of the idea. It always was the idea behind this particular, I don't know, activity, I guess. Yeah, it's an activity. I'm going to turn this light on. Sorry if that's blinding, but unfortunately, the top light that I use just isn't quite enough for me to be able to see. I'll answer a question here quick. Brother Pugnak's question: do you reckon they'll do new battle tomes for Slaanesh and add these guys? Maybe. I would like it, if I'm honest with you. If I am totally honest with you, I'd like it. I don't like when there's just a few models that stand out that aren't part of a battle tome. But that's just me. But honestly, if they're going to go through that much work, I'd be like, well, I'd rather wait until they have a full lineup of other units and that kind of stuff to add. And I think I am going to go with my idea for orange when it comes to his cloak that he's wearing. All right, so first question, here we go. If you could have a novel written about anything in Age of Sigmar, what would it be? So you have full command of the Black Library, writing staff, and you can dedicate any of them to writing anything. What would it be? For me, I would take my personal hero, Aaron Dembski-Bowden, who mostly does writing over on the 40k side of things. I'd take him, and I'll be like, make Archaon the coolest. And that's what I would love to see. You don't have to pick a specific author if you don't know any of them, but what I mean is I want the ever-chosen and that kind of stuff. I haven't really cared for him that much in Age of Sigmar so far. And the reason I say that is not because he's not a cool character. He carries a lot of weight. Whenever he's in a scene, he dominates it, which he should. He's every time he enters the room, someone yells oh Lord, he coming. It's just, he's a cool character. But I feel like whenever they have him in campaign books and that kind of stuff when he's fighting, first of all, I feel like his mount, Dorgar, is the one doing all the work. He rarely kills people. It's always he has an epic fight with the hero, and then last second, Dorgar comes in clutch and just eats the guy, whoever he's fighting against. So that's what I would like to see. And I specifically pick Aaron Dembski-Bowden because the analog for Archaon, at least in the 40k universe, is their version of kind of the same character of Abaddon, or Abaddon, however you want to pronounce that. It's been pronounced both ways by staff members. And the reason I want him to do is because he did such a phenomenal job of taking that villain and making him not only believable, but just reasonable. He's interesting, which is hard to do when the only thing that you kind of know your villain by is and he's big and bad and evil and everybody hates him, right? He is not twirling mustache kind of evil. He's he's a legit bad guy. So I would like that quite a bit. I know that the narrative hasn't focused too much on chaos lately. It's been all about death all the time. But I think that's changing with all the Slaanesh that's coming out. we're going to circle back to some chaos goodness. I'm going to go ahead and read some of the answers now. Let's see here. Oh, I lost my point as to where I was. Personal rivalry between Archaon and Sigmar that is more focused on them as characters rather than just their powers. That's a great one. Anytime they focus on the gods, they have my attention. Absolutely great point. The first Slawn to smash into the mortal realms and everyone's reactions. That'd be, yeah, Seraphon needs some Black Library love. Without question. They have some like short stories that involve them, but nothing really, I'm going to use the word captivating. Let's see. Lumineth on a campaign. I like that. So I can see how the depressed girl acts, so I can make my personality. Oh, the girl crying by coals in battle. I love it. Let me see here. I do look back and forth between what I'm painting and the chat. So if I don't read your exact comment, give me just a hot second and I will get to it. Let's see. I want a city's leader who is fighting chaos slowly fall to Slaanesh by trying to do everything to save the city. Yeah, take over Mart. That's a fantastic point, actually. And I like those stories for chaos much more than just following an army of just like... I love stories, and I see them more in 40k, where they highlight the insidious nature of chaos. Like, you're trying to do good, but in that effort, something goes terribly wrong. Like, that to me is a really compelling story pitch, as opposed to like, we just follow this guy who just likes to kill people for the sake of killing, you know? Absolutely. Let me see. Just picking out green bits, trying to cover up most of them. Not super worried about what's behind the cape, because honestly, you can't really see it. Or I mean, behind his body. But we'll get some of the broad strokes here. Okay. Let's see. I would love the Prime, such a big character. Oh, yeah. Yeah. More stuff about the Celestin Prime. Absolutely. That's a great call out. Yeah, they never, again, just like with Archaon, like they had this big character, big reveal, all that kind of stuff, and then, he comes into a scene and he closes out the scene every time. He's the closer, right? Swoops in, punches some face, and then he's out of there in no time. There's like no character to him, no information really. A retcon of Seraphon to have them as custodians of the realm gates, and that's an interesting idea. Very interesting. Okay, the depressed girl, harsh. She is though. I described her as like an Instagram model who just kind of always looks off into the distance, and you're like, what are you looking at? God, Samantha, you're always so thoughtful and sad looking. And if there's a Samantha watching right now, don't ever change. Keep being you. Okay, we're going to let that part dry for just a smidge. I might do a second coat just to make sure that the contrast green is covered up. I'm going to see real quick. Is he glued on or plastic glued? No, he must be plastic glued. Okay. Let's see if I can pop him off and I can get underneath that back part, but honestly, you can't really see it, so I'm not super worried. All right. Let's see. Now, I'm going to start picking out what's next to pick out. Probably the skin. But the skin actually has a nice little base to it, so I'm going to darken it just a bit because they kind of used my preferred flesh tone, and so highlights on that wouldn't really work. Let's see. Fire Slayer flesh, or darken it up a good bit. All right, so thanks everybody. Those are great answers. I want to see continuation of Tamra story. Yeah, from Nagash Undying King. Fantastic idea. Okay. So, let's go on to the next one here. That's question number 1. Done did. Next question. If you made your own holiday bundle, what would it be? And this can be for 40K or AOS or both. If I made my own holiday bundle, let's do 40K first. We'll get that one out of the way. I would say Adeptus Mechanicus, because they had so many cool releases that if there was a one-stop easy way to hop into that faction that got you pretty much everything you needed, that would be a no-brainer for many folks. I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on what would be in it. Honestly, probably like the new flyer, but I don't have any strong opinions beyond that, just because I want them to show off more of that. It's a very unique design aesthetic within the 40K universe, where it's like old gyrocopters and all this kinds of stuff, where it looks... We know that it's super hardcore technology, but it looks very fantasy-ish, and I dig it for that exact reason. So that's what I'd say for 40K. For AOS, what would I want? Honestly, and this isn't because I specifically want it, it's just because I think it's something that the product line is missing. There's just, they gotta have easier ways to get into factions like Daughters of Cain and Skaven. Like, those are two armies that are immensely popular, that they're just very not easy for the average consumer to jump in with. Just because of like the amount of models you have to buy, and this with Daughters of Cain, the weird kit situation they put themselves in with the cauldron and that kind of stuff. It's kind of a mess from a consumer standpoint, and people often point out like, oh, well, you don't need to buy that. You could just buy like, you know, like this Warcry warband, and you'll have all these heroes. It's like, but the average, like, if you don't know anything about AOS. You walk into the store, you want to buy a product, you don't know all about this kit bashing and proxies, and you know what I mean? That's just a different thing. And so I think that would be really important for them to have. Personal opinion. Let's see. Brother Pugnex with the Death Guard Codex. Yeah, actually the Death Guard's a great call, because that's another one that's not easy to get into now that they don't have... specifically, they don't have their start, like the Dark Imperium or whatever it was called before, where so much of like the easy access to that faction was wrapped up in a 2-player starter set, and now that's not there, and so it's like, well, dang it. Pretty much. Let's see. I would absolutely have a holiday battle force that had loads of new Slaves to Darkness Marauders. Well, they don't use the battle forces to put out new models. They just kind of use them for existing stuff. But I see what you're saying. Because honestly, if they ever made a new Marauder kit, I would go hog wild. But I don't foresee that anytime soon, unfortunately. I was really hoping that when the new book came out, they were going to sunset the old models and be like, hey, listen, Warcry warbands are the new Marauders. Go have fun. just use anything but these old ancient dudes. But that didn't pan out. But there's some logistic problems with that, because the Warcry models all have different size bases and stuff, so I get it. It could be a mess. A full-size Marauders with, 20 mil bases versus, some of them are on like 40s, like the little Panther Cat guy. They're all over the place. And so part of the way that I'm able to paint armies very quickly is when you're doing a single model like this, you always just focus on what you can do rather than waiting for things to dry. So like I'm still waiting on part of the pants to dry, but I've moved on to something else that I can do right meow. Okay. Let's see. I want Orcs and Adeptus Mechanicus. Time to bring the metal. Yeah, I mean, man, those are two factions that just people are in love with. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay. Combination of Bone Splitters and Spider Fang would be nice. I think they fit aesthetically. They do, and honestly, as much as I love the Big Wah from the War Clans book, I would have much rather they combined Spider Fang, who didn't get a whole lot of love in the Gloomspite book. It's just, the Trogs and Moon Clan got all the new models and that kind of stuff, in terms of, and synergies are not super great. I would have loved if they just did a lateral move of like, hey, Spider Fang are now with Bone Splitters. Plus, it would actually add something to their sub-faction they don't have, which is Mortal Wound output. Because Spider Fang can do that with some of their command ability stacks and that kind of stuff. So I would agree. I don't know if they'll ever go back and retroactively do that, but then again, they go back and do stuff all the time, like they did when they added War Clans by combining the two factions, so certainly not outside the realm of possibility. But absolutely, they do work together aesthetically. Can say that. Can confirm. Because when I think of the holiday bundles, it's more about, hey, packaging together existing models. Oh, it's supposed to be metal, never mind. For the purposes of, like, your grandma can be like, my grandson wants to play Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Let's get him this, right? And it's just a one-stop, not army in a box. They don't have to be, but a good collection starter. For sure. I will say, if anyone has a grandma who's going to drop that kind of coin on them, I think, what is it, like 210 this year or something like that? I didn't check. You guys win. Best grandma ever. Alright, where else is there some bone on this guy? I think I picked out most of it. Yep, feel pretty good about it. Alright. Sweet, we got that done. All right, next question here. The biggest problem with the starter boxes for cities is the lack of universal battle line. They don't have any universal battle line? Oh, I see. Those specific boxes don't have universal battle line. Yes. Yes, you are correct. All right, so we got that one done. Next question. We're going to take a break from the AOS stuff here and ask this one. This is going to be a divisive one, so I apologize. I know I built a very caring community here. Favorite ice cream topping or side? By that, for me, it's not traditionally called a topping, but brownies and ice cream is the best. Fight me. Please don't fight me. I'm very weak. Favorite ice cream thing. Again, date night questions, important. Get to know you. This is how you make quick judgment calls about people that you potentially want to fall in love with. Best ice cream topping. And of course, if that question does not interest you, please continue to talk all about holiday bundles. But I like to intersperse a little bit non-AOS stuff and AOS stuff just to kind of break up the conversation a smidge. Also, it kind of helps me figure out where I am on the chat. Reese's shell toppings. Ooh, waffles. Dadgum, that's a great suggestion, man. Forgot that I do like waffles. Banana. Okay, keeping it simple. I like it. Apple pie. Mr. Spider, I don't like ice cream. What? That's okay. We'll love you like you're human. Okay. And my mom doesn't like ice cream either because her teeth are so sensitive. Let's see. Tyrant looking dapper. Yeah, he's coming along. Once I get the orange built up and then I start doing the flames and stuff on his armor, I think he will look mildly to moderately baller. But the green is covering up pretty well. That's the thing about contrast, man. It covers up nicely. Okay, perfect. Go good. He's got a good solid coat of orange on there. I'm going to take my Xandri dust and we're going to just go and pick out some of the stitching here. And then when I give it a wash, the stitches will really pop out of there. There we go. Also another for gummy bears. The thing about gummy bears is they become just like solid masses. And it's like, I want ice cream, not a chew toy. Alright. Looks like he also didn't really do much of a wash on. That's alright with the metal, that's alright. What can we do next while we're waiting? Let's grab the corn red. We're going to start putting out some color for our, that brush stored bristles down the water though. I don't quite understand, but I think you're commenting. This is what I call the mixing brush, which is I take a brush that I don't use anymore and I use it strictly for mixing, and so it sits in the water because I do not care about it. Here's that weird song that always comes up on my playlist. Okay. Oh, Warren Rafe. Oh, thank you so much, buddy. Thank you. Joining us on Battle Line means the world to me. Truly does. Ah. All right. So favorite ice cream, banana split. Okay. Let's see. Steak and eggs on your ice cream. Interesting. All right. Let's see. Okay, here we're going back to more of the Warhammer focus stuff. Oh, wait a minute. I just did that wrong. There we go. Name a model that you did not like until you saw it in person. So maybe they showed you a preview of a model and you were like, that looks derpy AF, and you didn't like it. But the minute you saw it in real life, your opinion changed. For me, I can name a few. Mortarion from the Death Guard. I didn't like it on... honestly, I don't like most of the Nurgle stuff that I see on Games Workshop, and I think it's because they paint Nurgle so bright, and I love Nurgle when it's dark. But they paint it brightly with all the thousands of... it feels like thousands. Layers of highlights and junk because they need to show you those details. So I think that things are generally brighter on the AOS... sorry, on the actual Games Workshop page, sales page, than I think that most people would ever paint them, including the artists. Like, I don't think they would normally have crazy, you know, everything has like 4 highlights on it. I think being able to control where you apply highlights and detail is part of what makes it, quite frankly, cool looking. So that's one for me. And honestly, yeah, it's most Nurgle stuff and Death Guard. What's another one? Honestly, the Gargant kit, Games Workshop was kind enough to send me one, and I was looking at it, I was like, they look cool, but until I got it in person and saw all the bits and that kind of stuff, I was like, oh, this is actually like a super rad kit. Jury's out if it's still worth the coinage, that's up to you. But I thought it was cool. What do we got here? Forge World Cerastus Knight. I have not seen one. Neferata. Okay. Yeah. The other guys from the Wrath... the Reapers or Reavers, whatever they're called. Yeah, that's another one, like... I think they put way too much emphasis on, like, that claw arm guy. Like, they keep showing him, but it's like, he's cool. But, yeah, seeing the other guys, all their skin transitions and stuff, I think is also probably a bit more interesting. So we're picking out any place that we're going to have some red and some fire. Nice fine point there. And I'm just kind of doing some basic triangles here. Trying to make it look like it's been very crudely painted on. Okay. Because if you're an ogre, you're doing it all very crudely, right? That's their thing. Let's see. Skull Reapers. Thank you, Clancy. Yes, nailed it. Actually, the Giants thought they'd be dumb. Bought one just to practice flesh and fell in love. Oh, the actual, like, the normal Gargant? I like the normal Gargant. There's a lot of been complaints about it, but, like, the only complaint I have about the kit is that you can't have his arms, like, in any other pose. But, I mean, that's... I don't know. There's so many older kits that just, I think, look frankly not great, and so having that be my only complaint, not bad. But yeah, I don't know. I remember there was a lot of complaints when they're like, oh, the only new kit we're getting is the Mega Gargant. I'm like, well, everyone only complains about its price, so if you're not happy with that, I'm not quite sure what they were going to do that was going to just like make your day. Alright, so we're going to have the all these little metal pieces are going to be red, representing the fire, and then the actual weapon itself is going to be like actually glowing red. So the other ones won't necessarily get that kind of treatment, but they will look cool nonetheless. We'll make it rad. Let's see. Let's throw some red on this arm over here. Just a smidge, just to kind of make it fit in with the other arm over there. Again, we want it to be kind of messy just because ogre. And forgive the silence. We'll jump into the next question here in just a hot sec. I just have to hold my breath, get the details. Not miss this dude's armor. But he's gonna be so rad when this is all done. Okay, missing anything else? Just doing a quick once over. Oh, there's like a sigil here. We'll grab that with the red. Cool. I think we're looking good. Actually, I do want to put one more thin layer of the corn red on that blade just to kind of build it up a smidge more. Oh, that's a lot of paint. Now I'm thinking the little pieces of scrap that come off of the tyrant's like spear, I'm going to have sort of be like an onyx type thing, so that their darkness will pop off of the glowing redness of the rest of it. All right. Sean Blake, tying the knot tomorrow. Oh, very, very, I say very congratulations. Congratulations to you. I don't know why I was going to say very. That's excellent. I have met your lovely fiance. She's awesome. She puts up with you and the rest of us as nerds. What more could a man ask for? You're the guy with everything. All right, so we're going to move into the next question here for us. What is... I'm going to limit it to Games Workshop stuff here. What is your favorite boxed game? Like all their little side games, or... well, I said boxed game or side game. So what I mean is a boxed game, by their definition, would be something like Necromunda or Underworlds, all the things that are on the boxed games tab, basically on their website. But I'm going to throw in side games because there's also things like, Speed Freaks, whatever the Corn Champion was, where basically they release these small mini games that are really more about getting models in people's hands rather than, being a standalone game type thing. So I'm going to open it up that way and say, what is your favorite boxed game or mini game, whatever you want to call it? For me, Necromunda and Warcry are certainly up there high on the list. Because they're just settings that I just really like. I want to start getting into Underworlds. But, lore-wise, I already am. Like, I love the concept of, this prison going awry. It's more about like the actual gameplay stuff I'm trying to learn and keep up with. But people have been super helpful, so that's been really nice. As far as like other stuff, I did play. What is it? With Jess, we played the Crypt Hunters game that went straight to like Barnes & Noble bookstores, that kind of thing. That was actually pretty fun. It's just a simple little dungeon crawler thing. And one of the things I liked about it when I did my review is that it has a built-in campaign system, and you can adjust the difficulty, so I think it has a lot more replayability than I was expecting in that small of a game, or simple of a product. Yeah. Also, Speed Freaks was actually super freaking fun, where you're just hucking dice at each other. You're basically trying to get better at driving or get better at shooting. And I played at Nova, and none of us made it one round. Like, we didn't do one revolution around the track. We were all just smashing each other and having a great time. Let's see. Doug, did you keep your worm spat? Are you running the new Warriors? Are you solo running the new... I'm going to do the new Warriors. The worm spat, honestly, I burned out of painting that paint scheme. I was like, I just need to be done. So I put them aside. No regrets. Let's throw some dark tone on here. Just a drop. There we go. Boo. Your hatred gives me strength. Let's see. Warcry and Kill Team or Majam. I like the idea of Kill Team. I haven't had the best of luck with it, if I'm honest. As a game system. But I mean, that's just been no one's fault. We just kind of play around, and honestly, for me, I think the game needs more positive modifiers. There's just a lot of punishment and not a lot of positives. So a lot of things will give you -1 to shoot. Very few ways to get any kind of pluses, even on a weapon level. At least Necromunda, like a shotgun, is better up close than it is far away, kind of a thing. And I understand that they're working with a much smaller board, and that game balance wise, that does matter. It's just really crummy when you have several turns in a row that you're rolling dice and nothing's happening. Like, that to me is just the opposite of fun. Like, I want stuff to at least happen. But I also understand, again, a lot of game balance things going on, especially when you're talking that many factions. Like, I totally have grace for that, because I couldn't do it. And the boots, I'm actually going to repaint brown, which I suppose I could do any time now. And we're just adding some shadow here before we start building up highlights on our red and the silver armor. Just because the last owner did not wash anything, so it's kind of flat looking. You know, there's no shadows. Gotta have shadows. I'll worry about the weapons later. All right. He's coming. He's coming along. I like him. Sean Dog 98. Oh, thank you so much. Welcome to Battleline. Oh, and Nappy the Kitten. Both you guys. So good to me. Too good to me. I love that Underworlds brings in elements of a trading card game, but I hate the hoops you need to jump through to get all the cards. There's a lot. There's a lot to have all the options available. I do think it's better, though, as a model, because I used to play X-Wing, and I loved it. But the problem is, you'd get one of each card in like a set, right? Like you would buy, like, say, the TIE Fighter to get X card. But the thing is, in X-Wing, you could have up to 3 of the same card, whereas in Underworld, you can only have 1. So if I buy 1 expansion, I'm set. That's all I need, right? I can buy multiples to have like convenience and have like pre-made decks and that kind of stuff, but that's all on you as a consumer. Whereas X-Wing, it's like if you wanted to run the X strategy aggressively, you needed to buy 3 of everything. And you're just like, that sucks. That is the worst. Now we can start doing the skin here. Thanks for the lore. Sons of Behemoth, loved watching them. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hopping off now. Have to bake a cake. Lady Grey, kill it, crush it, girl. Get that cake. Make sure it's not a lie. I'm having a great day, Apathy Kitten. I get to hang out with people. Got my day planned. Woke up with a good cup of coffee. I'm set. Okay, next question here. What is one thing that you leveled up your hobby when you learned about it? And so I'm going to broaden this out a bit. It could be, for example, I'm going to put it in terms of painting and gameplay and all different kinds of things. When I learned about washes, that was a level up for me because it taught me all about the value of shadows and that kind of stuff. Like, learning about washes was a big deal for me. And I learned it like early in painting, but it was massive. And then when it comes to gameplay, when I was actually playing my Slaves to Darkness the first time, way back in the day, really getting good at model placement specifically, it was a huge deal for me. Because in that army, at the time, when they didn't have a battle tome, they just kind of sucked at everything. And so, having to force yourself to like, okay, if I want to have a chance, I need to focus on objectives in a big, big way. I need to constantly apply pressure in any way that I can. I need to, and so it was a faction that really forced me to be like, I need to learn X aspect of the game. And that's just, I've carried it with me every other faction I've played. It's why I made my Nurgle stuff so aggressive and speed focused. Yeah, so it could be anything like that. Anything that you feel like once you learned X, anything that has to do with this hobby got significantly improved or better or stronger or whatever you want to use. Let's see. Zenithal hiding. Okay. Oil paints. Washes or liquid talent. How are the Hot Pockets? They were definitely a level up for me. Hot Pockets. They're coming along. I love that conversation that we had. I was trying to explain it to some friends, and they were like, "What do you mean they never heard of Hot Pockets?" I was like, "Yeah, I know. Never felt the glory, the majesty." let's see, he's grabbing the detail in his hands, just laying down some base colors. We're going to go into more detail with Kislev Flesh here. Alright. Has anything changed for you since your hobby became a job now? No, not really. It feels very surreal. You know, one of the things that I was honestly a little excited to do was just kind of take over some more of the house chores and responsibilities, and so in between writing notes for stuff and all of that, it's just been about that. Honestly, I don't feel like I've had a ton of days where it feels very real to me because you know, when we first moved here, it was all about getting set up, right? We had to get the internet set up, we had to get, you know, obviously the cameras and everything unpacked and loaded and that kind of stuff, and so that just moving in was kind of my equivalent to my day job. And then I don't know, from there it's gotten significantly better. But honestly, this coming, oh, and then I got super sick. I was super sick last week. And then yeah, so this coming week is actually going to be kind of like the first one of where I feel like it feels real, right? Like that I'm doing actual work for the channel and nothing else. So I'm very excited. We're all settled in. Everyone's hale and healthy. So I'm excited for it. But yeah, thank you for asking. No, I mean, nothing's changed in terms of like hobby or, you know, I don't feel like a rock star or anything like that. Still learning how to highlight. Yeah. I hope one day you are sponsored by Hot Pockets. Dude, that'd be amazing. Like, I have always said, I don't do much in the way of sponsorships on the channel. And I either want sponsorship stuff to be incredibly relevant, like I have Discount Games Inc. If you want to save some money in the US on buying models, go check them out. Or I want them to be like utterly irrelevant. Like I don't want like Raid Shadow Legends or anything like that, where it's like, it's only tangentially related because it's the same demographic of nerds. You know, like nothing like that. Get that out of here. I want a game store, Games Workshop, or like, I often make the joke, Charmin Ultra for toilet paper. Like I want it to have nothing to do with anything. And I'm just like, we're going to do some awkward brand integrated sketches. Like, you know, and that's kind of how I feel about it still, where it's just like, it either needs to be an absolute joke for fun, or it needs to serve the audience. Oh, my battery went out of my light. Let me swap that real quick. There we go. Ta-da. Let's see. Michael, flattery will get you everywhere, my friend. Charmin, the #1 choice in Chaman. I was thinking, Charmin, get it because your rolls are such... And then, you know, cut it off right there before I cuss. Let's see. Now for this Stormcast faceplate he's got in the back here, we're definitely going to paint that up in the same color scheme as Jack from Rerolling 1 Stormcast, because I got those colors. Let's see, what's next for the red? We got Evil Sun Scarlet. That's what we're looking for. Let's see. Next question here. And this is going to be a two-parter. So it's two different questions, but I'll lump them together. Just for the sake of everyone typing, so you don't have to keep stopping and typing that kind of stuff. But your most and least favorite things about the hobby. So for example, mine, I hate building models. Always have. There's never been a time where Doug has enjoyed building models. It drives me nuts. I feel like, you know, half the memes that I post on social media are about not caring about mold lines because I can't care less about mold lines. Do not care. So that is mine. That's my least favorite part, building models. As far as my most favorite part, though, I really enjoy painting. And honestly, as far as like just general hobby goes, this hobby for me is much more of a social thing than it is, you know, obviously competitive or whatever. So, you know, it used to be like playing games with friends because that motivates me to paint. Lately, you know, I really did that other stream we did the other day where we played Vermintide and I had Clancy was in the chat, you know, and some others joined me. Like that really meant a lot to me. It was just like, man, I miss friends, miss that kind of stuff. And it was just a really, really meaningful time. Like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I truly like about the hobby is this social aspect. And unfortunately, in our current age, it's the first thing that had to go. For a good reason. But, you know, you can know you're doing the right thing and still be sad about it. I hate the stigma on competitive player. Not playing to have fun. I hate the stigma. So you mean like you don't like that the idea of competitive play isn't about fun? Like that the two are mutually exclusive? I just want to make sure I'm understanding you right. Let's see, my OCD about needing at least one unit of every faction I collect. Oh man, that's a tough place to be. Especially if you get into Cities of Sigmar. That's a death trap for you then. I suppose Legions would also be the same, right? All those different sub-factions, or not sub-factions, but all the different units that they kind of just rolled into that one book. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get that. I will be honest, when I first started the channel, I played into that as well. You know, I definitely, I had that stigma of like, at the time, it's because people were trying to do nothing but exploit rules loopholes in AOS. Quite frankly, for the sheer purpose of just crapping on it because they didn't like that Games Workshop made the change from Fantasy Battles. As if that game didn't have any problems, you know, whatever. But, so I definitely played into that as well. But I have since matured and changed my opinion and grown and been like, you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with being a competitive player. And like, I think the person that really shaped a lot of that opinion for me is meeting Jack from Rolling Ones has been a huge deal in my hobby life, simply because he is somebody who can have fun at every level. You know what I mean? He can be great with narrative stuff, and also like he uses his understanding of the game to do well at events, and that's just like a really cool thing. Actively avoid cities. Yeah, I imagine so. I like Cities of Sigmar. I think it would be a cool army to do one day, but it's one of those things that if I were to do it, I would also want to go whole hog. Like we were talking about earlier during the news segment, like, you know, converting a whole bunch of units and having a big mix of humans and elves and dwarven and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's what I would go into that army actively looking for. Alright, this guy's coming along. I like him. Okay, so yeah, favorite thing about the hobby, yeah, just hanging out with people. Always has been. Always, always, always. Just gonna grab, I wasn't expecting to do it, but grab some wildwood. Didn't realize there were some straps on there that is the straps that go from his gut plate to his shoulders that were missed. Not every competitive player just wants to kick you in the teeth. It's true. It's true. I mean, I think honestly, the most important conversation you can have in this game is just when you're walking up to a table, like a game night where, you know, it's a bunch of folks getting together. You may not know everyone. Just be like, what kind of game do we want to play? Like that is the most important conversation, because that helps you understand, okay, no one, oh man, my neighbor's coughing up a storm outside. Like, we're both here, we're both adults, we just want to have some fun, you know, but how can we do that in a way that makes us both happy? Like that is a very important conversation to have. And I feel like that was not, until we had the 3 ways to play, that was not very well articulated. Although I still have yet never seen somebody be like, I want to play open play. Like, that is the thing that they want to do. Which is why I think that they should redo open play to just be Path to Glory. That's my opinion. I put it out there in a video and I was like, I regret nothing. Favorite part of the hobby is building narrative stories for my armies. That's awesome. I like hearing that. He's coming a long way. We already look so much better than the green we had before, and has some depth to him because of the metal we did. Let's just keep on keeping on. Let's see. That. Got my squig orange. Actually, another color I want to use? I don't think it is. Let's go with a different orange, a brighter one. All right, next question here for us, because that was a 2-parter here. What are some things on your hobby bucket list? What would you want to accomplish in this hobby? Now, I'm somebody who, like, painting and, you know, achievements in that way are not super on my radar. But for many folks, they are, and that's totally cool. So what are some things... Oh, I need that for highlight my reds. What are some things that are on your hobby bucket list? I will, of course, go first. For me, I want to run an event. Not like a big event, but even just like a little weekend, one-day thing. I want to run a narrative event. What else? Forgot how translucent their oranges are. Gonna take about 1,000 thin coats here. What do we got? Future Warhammer playing wife. Okay, okay. Well, I'm just gonna throw it out there. You may not have a whole lot of control over that, but if it's something you want, go have a great time. Okay. Meaning, you might just fall in love with someone who doesn't care for Warhammer. And you know what? That is A-okay. Let's see. I want to marry my girlfriend and have a whole bunch of geeky babies. Raise them a hobby D&D. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I know some folks, it's like win an art, win an event, that kind of stuff. Which, you know, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with wanting to win. Let's see. Best way to get this into Warhammer? Oh, honey, I'd show you, but just wouldn't understand. Oh man, that's a great way to get yourself to sleep on a couch. I don't know what you're talking about. We're trying to get people, like, you know, to build a community, not get them all in the doghouse. Any other oranges? I feel like that one is super weak. Let's try with the squig orange here. It's what I did for my Corvus Cabal. I did some squig orange over the Griff Charger. Let's see if that pans out a smidge better. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it kind of has a different tone to it. Orange sucks. To try and paint it, I mean. Let's see. I'm looking here. Visit Warhammer World one day. That's definitely on mine. Yeah, I want to run a narrative event. I want to visit Warhammer World. I want to... Give me one second. Let me close my window. My neighbor's outside yelling on his phone. Apparently someone stole his identity. He's yelling about a social security number. Okay. Yeah, do all of that. Let's see. What else I want to do? Honestly, I would love to go to... Is it the South Coast GT, Australia? I think that would be tons of fun. Get to meet some cool people, see parts of the world. I don't honestly, like, my things have a lot more to do with like travel. Like one of the things when I started like looking at, you know, going to cons and that kind of stuff, I was like, "Hi honey, would you mind if I started doing stuff like this?" And her only requirement was she gets to come along. And I was like, I can make that happen. We'll do that. As long as you don't get tired of it. If you mix the first coat with the darker orange, let's do that. That does look a lot better. Just has a lot more substance to it. Good call. Thank you. Let's do that. We'll build up some of this weird squig orange and Troll Slayer orange. Also, you go back through and darken up some of those recesses, but that's all right. I really should, because his cape is tattered with different kinds of material, I really should have it be more than just one color. But I'll worry about that later, once I decide what colors I want to do. All in all, I like him. He's coming along. We're going to do some edge highlighting on the red armor bits with Wild Rider Red. It's funny how you spend the least amount of time actually playing the game. Absolutely, yeah. How much do we actually spend? No, very little. Very little. And that's actually why I like going to events, even though I'm not competitive in any real way, is like I'm guaranteed, 3 games at a one-dayer. That's okay. Sold. And just running the brush over the sharpest edges here. This guy is looking awesome. Like I said, I'm going to do a dedicated video with before and after pics, sort of like a eBay rescue type video. just adding a little bit to the sharpest points of this guy's gross gut maw he's got going on. All right. Yeah, I think that's it for my hobby bucket list. You know, I've actually gotten more of it than I ever thought I would in terms of, you know, already traveling to conventions and meeting some really cool artists and stuff. Played a game against Strength Hammer, if you're over him on Twitter. Let's see. Oh, a little bit more. Missed the little thing on his face. Nice. All right. Let's see. I'm a commissioned painter at my local game store. I had to learn how to paint fast, good, and effectively. Willing to impart some knowledge. Oh, yeah, thank you. Brent just came back from my local store with 2 Mega Gargants. Bro, good for you, my friend. Good for you. Okay, what's our next question here? Okay, here we go. Favorite way to base models. Now, when I say base models, I mean like you can make your own basing material. You could be one of those folks who, like, you know, like me, like I want it. Basing is very secondary to me at best. And so like I want it done quick and easy. So I do the Games Workshop thing, grab a texture paint, maybe some extra details, throw it on there, add some graph tufts, done. Like I said, could not care less about basing. I'm curious about the rest of you. Also, there is a train going by. I do apologize. I'm just throwing some wash all over our skull bits we got here. Let's see. I want to build a thematic display for my factions when not in use. Fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, how do you guys do your basing? Like, you know, they have the Games Workshop, like, even like the, oh man, I remember when I did my War Machine and Hordes models, my first ones, I just did PVA glue, like white Elmer's glue, and then got a little tub of sand or grass and just like swooshed them around inside of it. I thought that was the coolest crap ever. I thought, like, oh man, this looks so real. It looks like they're actually walking on grass. And now I look at that and I'm like, are they though? Let's see. Use G-Dub's texture paints, the occasional skull. Yeah. Good way to build that base is to use cork. Yep, I've seen that. Seen that done quite a bit for sure. Not, you know. This is not about like how to base. This is more just like what's your preference. So for sure, that's a great way to do it. I got a good feeling about this guy. He's coming along. Little odds and ends we still got to clean up, but that's all right. Just add more and more orange. Let's see. Put white glue plus sand, and you can see I'm a basic baser. I'll see myself out. Nah, you're good. You're in good company. You are in great company. Don't you worry about it. I think that is one of the easiest things to be a gatekeeper about, is people be like, oh, you base your models like that? And it's like, the hell do you care what I did with my models? Oh, man. I get the restrictions on, like, you know, painting minimums and, like, you know, we want you to have base models. Like, I totally get that. It's more the folks who look down on you when you meet the requirements and you're like, really? You got words? All right. What's next, Doug? We can start picking out some of the highlights on the steel, or we can do the Kislev flesh to get the highlights on the skin. Let's do that one first. Yo, always love to catch you live. What realm are the new ogres from? Realm of Fire, actually. Don't have a specific, like, you know, war glut I'm trying to represent or anything like that. Although I've been told multiple times that because I have so many flippin' lead belchers that I should do undergut, just because it really focuses on them. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Just because, you know, I want to have some kind of plan that uses my collection when it comes to gaming. Because for me, I like to have like a thematic list and then also a separate one for competitive play. And I did that with my Maggotkin. And I liked it quite a bit. Just having, you know, no matter what kind of opponent I walk up to, like, hey, we can have a good time. That kind of stuff's important to me. I'm just picking up the knuckles. There we go. Get that. Got to pick out the back fat rolls. You know, it's a very important detail in this miniature. All right. So the basing one seems like a dud question. Not many people are into that, and that's all right. Next one here. This one I trust will get quite a few responses. What part of nerd culture, that's a big, broad statement, are you simply not into? So, for example, I have never played a role-playing game. Lord of the Rings is so-so to me. Never liked Harry Potter. Star Wars, I used to be very into it, and then I just stopped following it for some reason, like just very abruptly. What else? Battlestar Galactica, never saw a single episode. Oh, Star Trek, never was much of a Trekkie. So what part of nerd culture, or parts, are you just not that into? No wrong answers and no shame. Never cared for Harry Potter either? Yeah. Let's see. What's Battlestar Galactica? Battlestar Galactica. trying to think of what else. What other stuff? There's the RPG one is what throws people off, just because they're like, oh, but you love stories. It's like, yeah, but those require groups and stuff. Let's see. I love it all, just don't have time for it. Fair enough. A ton of shows, much more of a reader. Okay. Have you ever tried Mass Effect, the video game? Oh, I love Mass Effect. It's actually probably my favorite video game series. Never did try Andromeda, but the reviews have not really pushed my interest in it. Okay, Star Trek. Doctor Who is another one. Yeah, never. I've seen an episode of it, but that's about it. Total War Warhammer is almost an RPG, to be honest. Is it? Well, I guess you can. I mean, like, I made decisions like that, like bad decisions, because that's what an orc would do, so to speak. Fair enough. I'll give you that one. I don't really play it that way, but I totally get it. I guess when I say RPG, I mean like D&D, like an in-person, in-group thing. Like, I've played video game RPGs. I'm talking about like pen and paper ones. Ever been into horror just in general? Okay. Second for Doctor Who. Yeah, I don't know. People got so into it. Probably the most, I mean, I don't even really want to call it nerd culture, but it was just because it had a movie and that kind of thing. Like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was the book that made me fall in love with reading. Because my family never really encouraged reading all that much, so I had that moment when I was like younger, like, this is what books are like. I could like books. That kind of thing. Where I just needed to discover something that I loved that got me into it. D&D is great fun. Do you know YouTube channels that can help me learn about making lists? Ooh. AOS Coach is a great channel. He basically brings on a guest and he just goes army by army and picks out things that are amazing in each faction, and he has a guest that plays that faction who, like, one YouTuber cannot be expected to know every single army in this game. That'd be ridiculous. Despite how some people talk like they know every single thing. No, not neither a requirement nor an expectation. But what I think is the best second is brings on guests that have been playing it for years. So AOS Coach, honestly, is my favorite. And I say that because there's a lot of channels that talk about competitive gaming, but his channel specifically, like when he brings a guest on, they have lists and then they walk through them and explains what's good about them. And I think that's more, for me, putting things in perspective like that is very helpful. So, Warhammer Weekly, they talk about armies, but not so much specific lists. Those would be my recommendations. If anybody has any extras, throw them in. Just as long, I'm going to put this caveat there, whatever you recommend, I want it to be an encouraging, doesn't have to be like a clean channel, like in terms of language or whatever. They can say whatever they want, but I mean, someone who's not constantly assault mine, please. Let's see. Guess you can't run 2 Mega Gargments at a 1K list. Maybe I should have picked up some Mind Crushers. Yeah, I mean, they're that expensive, for sure. Points-wise, I mean expensive. But that just means you're halfway to a 2K army. Just building up more of the orange for our glowing weapon. All right. Perfect. Gargants are cheap in any respect. Oh, aren't cheap. Yeah. No joke. Date night? Yes. David, if you're just tuning in, essentially I ask questions that you would ask like on a first date. Get to know you things, and that's exactly the point we're doing here. So, Morty, I've never been much into comic books. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this should be a fun one. Okay, so because someone just tuned in, basically I'm going to ask a question and then I'll answer it. And while I'm answering it, y'all type in your responses and we read them on the air and we just discuss them. That's all. It's just hanging out with people while we're painting and getting stuff done. So here's the next question. What is your most controversial opinion about something in the hobby that is super mundane? Okay. And by that I mean, black rims on your bases are the best. Fight me. I don't, you know what I mean? Like the rims got to be black. I don't care about any other color. I tried doing other colored rims with the Maggotkin, and I did not like them. and again, it's supposed to be about something that does not matter, right? Like, don't give me your opinion on gender equality in Warhammer. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about stupid stuff. I don't mind mold lines. What else? What else is there? Heresy, gray is best. Gray rims? What else? Give me 1 second, just picking out some details here. I will tune back in to see what y'all have written. Hammer's a Sigmar paint scheme is actually dank. I want to like it. It's just, to me, gold, like a gold army is just not appealing. But I know people like it. I'm gonna have to do some cleanup on this guy just because I'm not doing so well with the super sharp colors, but that's alright. I've never been good at making a weapon or making things glow. Never have been, that's alright. We'll get some more of our what red did we use for that? Evil Sun Scarlet, that's right. Non-metallic metals look so bad most of the time. Ooh, good one. That's a good call. I have so many petty opinions. Yes, that's probably a better way to say it. Not that it doesn't matter, but that it's a petty, stupid thing. And it's also something that you might not ever actually say to somebody. Like, you would never say that out loud because you're self-aware enough to know that it's dumb. Paint on your base is okay. Agreed. Don't care. Agreed. Don't care if somebody has paint on their base. I think one of the people who focus so much on model count in an army, they discard a lot of fun options for the game. I get storage space matters, but at least consider everything. Okay, so you're saying, you know, folks who are more concerned with the physical realities of an army rather than like just what looks cool. I'm of two minds about that one. I see what you mean, but as someone who had extremely limited space up until recently, I respect the struggle. And then sometimes I swear it's like Games Workshop forgets that these are supposed to be game pieces, and they make models like Griff Chargers with javelins that stink out and Lumineth dudes with spears that are like literally 3 inches long, the range of their weapon. You're just like, man, y'all aren't helping me at all. I'm just trying to clean up the yellow, sharpen it up just a smidge. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like how that looks at all. That looks really derpy as hell. What do I want to do? So I'm really bad at the sharp details when it comes to like making this thing glow. But I'm not bad when it comes to blending like from one color to another going vertically. So now I'm thinking have the bottom here be a dark red and build it up to it's brighter up here. Because I'm really not liking the way this looks. Part of it is because their weapons are so flat. Like all of their weapons are so stinking flat. Mold lines in general, I don't see them at all. Same. Joshua, same. 100%. Wet palettes are overrated. Thank you. Man, y'all are the best. Mainly because you agree with me. That's a joke, but... Let's see. Cassandra Yellow, where are you? Let's see. I'm just going to throw a little Cassandra Yellow into some of the creases here on his pelt. Alright, trying to remember the last time I saw a mold line on a model. Green stuff sucks to use. You know, I've never enjoyed using green stuff, if I'm honest with you. Oh, I will say the Cassandra Yellow on this thing does make it look a lot more interesting. Let's see. Painting one thick coat is fine. It is fine. Absolutely. Like I look at how these guys are just like very basic contrast, you know, when I bought them from the lot online. And like if I walked into a game store and I was playing against this guy, you know, I mean, obviously he didn't finish them, but you know, let's assume fast forward he did with just some more contrast. Yeah, absolutely. Who cares? I find the color of dice you use must fit with your army. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Those are great petty opinions. This is the best. Dice Sagas contrast paints are the best. I like them quite a bit. Y'all, you guys get it. I was worried that like people were going to start throwing out opinions that are not petty and possibly offensive, and then I was just like, you know what? No. You guys are awesome. I got Cassandra Yellow, I got Fugan Orange, and I got a red tone from Army Painter. Let's just play around with these and see how we can get this guy to look cool. Okay, I finally got one that is kind of silly. Square bases are fine in AOS. If that's what you have, that's what you have. Agreed. Agreed. I played against some square bases right before I left Seattle area. Had a wonderful time. because it's what he had. And I'm like, I'm not going to let that get in the way of anyone's fun. Like, let's have a great time. Ooh, you know what I could do? I'm going to try blending with contrast. Let's try that. I'm going to do some red blending with the contrast, and we're going to make that, we're going to fix it up. I got an idea. I got a vision for how this guy's going to look. Stupid one-dimensional corn is actually better in many ways than nuanced God of martial prowess corn. That's an interesting take. I'll take it. Let's see. I swear to God this one is true. One time 2 guys got so offended by my use of square bases they eventually wanted to fight me outside a gaming club. What? That's the dumbest. That's the kind of thing where I look at it and it's like, man, is your life so devoid of drama and love that this is what you're going to fight for? Like, can I buy you a beer? Just, you know, it's kind of one of those things that it's like when you see a couple arguing about dishes and you just kind of know it's like, that's not really about dishes. You know, the people who fight that ardently about bases, it's like, man, this isn't about that. This is about something else, you know. Your wife wants a baby and you don't, or something like that. I want to try Scale 75's Instant Color product line. Okay. I miss seeing loser paints in pink. I don't know what that means. Push fit feels good to hold, to be honest. I agree. I honestly, people complain about losing, customizability with GW models recently, and I'm just like, honestly, I'm fine with it. Could not care less. Got my 3 contrast colors here. Now, I'm going to show you real quick how I like to do my blending with contrast here. I kind of need that to be dry first. But essentially what I like to do is I'm going to cover this entire blade with contrast medium thick coat. And then go at the bottom with Blood Angel's Red, which is a bright red. And I'll drag just a little bit of it upward so it'll blend in with the medium. And then go with Griffhound Charger Gray in the middle and Eandon Yellow on the top. And that'll build up that color. And we're using the medium to swoosh them together. So once this little bit dries where I threw some wash, we'll go ahead and we'll do that. It's a cool little trick. I did it on my Maggotkin with their wings. Okay. Next question. So those are some great controversial opinions about nothing. I love it. This one, it can be wargaming related if you want it to be. For me, it's not going to be. What is one activity that terrifies you? And I mean a more common one, right? Like for me, I put karaoke. You will never catch me in a million years doing karaoke. I don't know why. It just... I don't know. It just terrifies the snot out of me. Never want to do it in my life. Okay, we got our medium down. Being on top of a tall building. Like, you mean at the top, like the roof level? Talking to women I find attractive? That's super fair. That's a real thing, man. Don't be ashamed of that. It's hard. Let's see. Anything to do with height? Okay. Parachute skydiving. Dinner with guest if mom is there. She gaslights like only an elf should. Oh, man. I can relate to that one a bit. Okay, we'll throw some orange right here in the middle and just kind of lightly pick up some of the red. Already looking better. I already like it more. And we'll pull it upward right up to where the yellow is going to be. That's not going to be like hyper red, just because we did already have that corn red base, but it is looking good. Let's see, going into the sea without a t-shirt on. No idea, swimming pools, I'm all good. Specifically the sea. Honestly, I am somebody who is just like, I am deeply ashamed of my body, so I do not like going into pools at all, anything like that. There we go. Yeah, this is looking much, much better. Let's see what else we got. The ocean is terrifying. It is. Okay, so if we're talking like irrational fears, straight up, I have a fear of whales. Like, they're too big. Nothing should be that big. When you see those like perfect shots of like a scuba diver like with a camera right alongside a whale, I'm like, no, screw that noise. Nope. It's just the sheer magnitude of these creatures. You're just like, nope, nobody, nope. There we go. Now that's looking better. Yeah, there we go. Get the flamethrower. Let's see. The taller you are, the bigger you are, the more damage you get from falling. Yeah, I'm much happier with that. Thank goodness the biggest whales aren't keen on eating people. You see, you say that, but it doesn't matter. They're evil, godless killing machines. Terrified of spiders? Okay. Heights for me here, which is funny because I'm 6'6". Yeah, 6'3", and heights don't bother me too much. Falling, on the other hand, I'm just kidding. Let's see, square law. You'll get leg injuries. Hope you don't fall. Yeah. I can't confirm falling hurts. Okay. I got our next question for us. If you could have one mount, so like some creature that a character rides in AOS, as your new ride, you're going to ride it to work and back every day, family vacations, road trips, whatever. If you could have one animal as your mount, what would it be? And why? For me, I'm torn between a Maw Crusher and a Griff Charger. Right, Maw Crusher, the big stompy Drake looking thing that they're always riding in the Ranger section of these cities, not cities, Stormcast Eternals. And the other side being the Maw Crusher for destruction, and then Griff Chargers for order. That's what I'm trying to say. Seeker of Slynette, the chariot of the man grinder that is that chariot. Yeah, that's nuts. I love it. Do I have to take care of it? No, let's just assume it takes care of itself, because I don't want to deal with Griff Charger poop. Let's assume you got all the stuff you need to take care of it. Good follow-up question, though. It's important. Let's see. In just a sec, I'll look back at the answers here. Yeah, I think I'm going to have this corner piece be something else, just to kind of break it up a bit. Want the flying throne like Croak has? Okay, I dig it. Let's see. Steam tank, be like Patton. Can I get moving cities? Let's stick with stuff that has models. So like tanks would be the closest thing in cities. Although I would get the Griffin. Griffin sounds awesome. Imagine riding up on that guy to your next business meeting or whatever. Talk about a certain dominance. I'm sorry, I can't hear you from the back of my mythical creature. Stonehorn or Reichenor's Wing Ghost Horse. Oh, that's a great choice. That is legitimately, I forgot about his little ghost horse. I feel pretty good about that pike. I know it's not probably showing up super well for you guys, but it looks good. If I choose Rhinox, will it come with the garbage cannon? Absolutely. Yes. Honestly, that's probably... Is a steam tank a mount? Because it's like a tank. Yes, because there is a steam tank like general option, and you treat the tank rules-wise like a mount. So I'll allow that. That's why I'm counting it. Let's see. A gun hauler. Yeah, that's a great one. Tame a deep mare. The black coach would be the black coach would be freaking cool. I didn't even think about it, but yeah, that would be the most baller. Just like coming in, screaming, crash into the parking lot, take up 9 spaces. I think the best part of the black coach idea would be if you like walked 3 steps away and you had a key fob and the whole thing like went beep beep. Just people being like this confusing situation just became somehow more confusing. Oh man, that would be so cool. Let's grab some gold. I think I changed my mind. I don't want the fire pike stuff to have onyx. I want to have some gold things. Gotta bling it out. Make it an artifact. Plus we gotta get the tips of the horn thing in the back, so. The Leviathan can take some comfy passengers. That's the thing, is I said Griff Charger, but I was like, well, there's no way. Like, if I have to go to the grocery store, I have to, like, hold those things while I'm riding it, right? So, like, all of a sudden, like, the Iron Blaster and the Scrap Launcher, those things seem a lot more reasonable because you got to be able to carry stuff. So I'm kind of revising my thoughts based on the feedback I'm getting. Leviathan is nice. Parking's super easy. It flies. What else? What are some crazy things that are out there in AOS? Same thing for all the KO ships. What's the catapult from Lost Ark Bone Reapers? That wouldn't be a bad choice, I don't think. Although it'd be really nice to park a steam tank next to a guy in an SUV and start bragging about it, like, oh yeah, it gets 15 miles per ton of coal, you know, and just it's got a Hemi. 59 horsepower. Just picking out the last little bits of gold here. Let's see. Oh, the Doom Wheel. Night Warden Gaming. Unless somebody else said it before, but man, that is a clutch choice. The Doom Wheel. And it even has a little spot in the back, like for the second rider, where you can put groceries and stuff. Oh, man, that is a solid choice. That's a tough one to beat. If you've never seen the Doom Wheel riding around in Total War, stop what you're doing and go check that out. It is the coolest animation to come out of that game. Man, that's a rough one to beat. Let's see, what else? I mean, if it had all its abilities, Engine of the Gods is not a bad choice from Seraphon. Seeing as how it would allow you to mess with time and space. Okay, we're trucking right along here. Hey man, love your videos. Newer to 40k and you're making me love Sigmar too. Aw, thank you. When are you gonna get that Zinch box? And ignoring the others you're thinking about. And when is it going on pre-order? I thought it was going on pre-order this... Is it going on pre-order this weekend? I thought it... Maybe I was wrong. I thought it was this Saturday. Nah, the Zinch box, I'm going to pass. I just got a whole bunch of Maw tribes. But thank you for the kind words. I'm actually going to be doing some 40k lore videos this week. I'm excited. I get to talk about my Imperial Fists a little bit. I think that'll be fun. And what else do I need? I need my Stormhost Silver. A great stag, looking to look majestic. Okay. I believe it's this weekend. Anyone know the time? What time they usually go up? Saturday morning, I believe. That's when pre-orders go up. Specifically, I don't know when. I mean, obviously it changes. Your time zone matters, but... Alright. Last one. Last question here. And this is meant to be a goofy one where we can all just kind of take pot shots at ourselves. On a scale of Abaddon Black to Corvus White, these are GW paints if you're not familiar, what color would you say describes yourself best? If you had to pick a color that you wanted it to say something about you, what would it be? For me, for example, I'm gonna say Null Oil, okay? And here's why I say Null Oil. It doesn't produce much itself, but enhances other things. Much in the same way, I don't really write lore myself, but I share the lore of others and things that they're excited for. That is my justification for it. And like Null Oil is like one of the most basic shades to use because it just enhances just about everything. Nothing looks worse for having a Null Oil shade if you don't have any other color to shade with. Let's see. White to black or the whole spectrum? Anything. Pick a GW paint is what I'm saying. Mainly because they have really funny names. Any type of paint, Sterling Battlemire. It's very reflective of my colorful language. I love it. Let's see. When is AdMech Week? Probably when they get their book. Games Workshop, they started sending me 40K stuff, and I'm excited to jump into it because, you know, I also like that game in that setting. And it just gives me more of an excuse to talk about stuff I'm excited for. Let's see. Retributor Gold. Nice. Steel Legion Drab. Fair enough. You know, doesn't mean you're boring. It's a great color. I use it. Okay, just doing the edges here on my armor bits. What else we got? Does this mean we can expect more ogre content on this channel? Maybe. I mean, I would love to do like a, you know, here's what I've learned from playing the faction, but honestly, I'm not going to be getting games in anytime soon. So, depends on what people are hoping for. Okay, I got this, that. What else we got? Nighthaunt Gloom and Hexwraith Flame. Super close to Seahawks colors. Nice. Okay, loving the Hawks. It's cool, it's cool. You should hang out with Jack sometime. I'll be honest with y'all. I love the way he's turning out, except for the cloak, where I have it as orange. I don't know why, I'm just not digging it right now. But I'm not sure what I want it to be like. You know? Maybe having like the top, because it's like 3 different pieces, having this top part be orange and then these 2 bottom sections be something else. You know, and that would carry over to here. I don't know. Y'all have any suggestions? The people are hoping for more ogre content. Oh, love it. I'll take Cabalite Green. Nice. Nice. Lamia Medium. I work with everything. There you go. That's a great one. I don't care. Let me meet him. That's awesome. Okay, so left. All I have left, let's see. See, it worked. Flame gradient. So my thing with the flame gradient, right? Like, and that would be easy to do because I would just start with red down here and then build up color everywhere else. I don't want to take away from the weapon, right? Could push more brown to the shadows. Maybe paint up a piece tan. That's a good idea. What'd you do with the spear tip? Oh, I didn't like the way it was looking, so I did. I covered the whole thing in contrast medium. Put Blood Angels red at the bottom. Some Griff Charger gray. What is it? Griffhound orange in the center, and Eand yellow. Those are all contrast colors, and then just worked them in together. So it goes from a solid red up to an orange, and then just a very, very light brush with Uriel yellow and white scar. I love the top orange. Go with a reddish brown for the bottom part of the cloak. That's a good idea. Yeah, I guess brown, working in browns would probably help it not be quite like this. Okay. Reddish brown, why not for that? Got like Tusker fur. I'm just looking around at colors here, trying to come up with a plan. A Mornfang brown? Yeah, I have that. That's a deep old brown though. Yeah, I guess it's not a bad idea. Leave the top orange, go, yep. Do you think GW will move away from the BDSM nature of Drukhari? You know, honestly, I feel like Drukhari is still better than Slaanesh when it comes to that front, but I don't know. We'll find out because Games Workshop has been sending me 40k codexes, and they did announce that Drukhari is one of the ones coming out soon. So I will absolutely cover that question because it's something I'm interested in, like as a company. Kind of where are they going with it? I think that could be a really great discussion piece. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to look around at some different kinds of red that I can create before I kind of commit to the new cloak here. But yeah, I think he does need more browns. I think that's a good point. Just keep it warm, but like not go so far as a departure. That's a good point. Okay. I like him though. I mean, honestly, all he actually has left is I have to just pick out the wood bits and just kind of do some more. It's just a contrast on him, so I'll just kind of work in some more depth there. But he's coming along. He came a long way from when we started today, so I like that quite a bit. Then I have to pick out the highlights for the bone colors and that kind of stuff, brighten them up. It's just Xantry dust right now with a wash, so throw some Ushabti bone, brighten those up, and he's coming along. I like him. I like him a lot. Him leading these guys, they're gonna look dope together. So, anyway, friends, it's a very nice fall color scheme. Yes, I try. To be honest, they would lose a lot of Drukhari players if they blunted that edge. Yeah, but I don't, it's one of those things like they could, of course, just retroactively be like, hey, listen, no more of that stuff, and they just shut it down. But it's like, I don't think they'll do that. I think if anything, they'll just refocus on other aspects, and eventually people will, peter out who remember Drukhari in a different way. Honestly, kind of like how I think they're doing with Slaanesh, of just, I think the whole birth of the new one thing is a great way to just, quite frankly, introduce new ideas. Yeah. Okay. Thrown on a base of Mornfang Brown, although I did water it down quite a bit. Probably a bit too much. And we'll start with this piece. Because yeah, I like that cape, that cowl right there being orange, but I don't want it to be all that, you know. So we'll work in some other colors here. We'll make them cool. I already did a nice, direction shift when it came to the spear tip, so we can do that again with the cloak. I used fairly thin colors for that exact reason, you know. Doug, you ever tried to play AOS with your wife? How'd it go? We did. What did we do? We played some of the other mini games. I do intend to play Warcry with her, but not so much AOS. I think she has expressed to me, and we've done game nights with other people before, and honestly I'm kind of the same way, where it's like getting hit with a bunch of rules all at once is just very overwhelming. And so kind of have to be in the mood for it, you know. I don't know. It can be a very overwhelming game for someone who's not like into games that much already. So, no, not really. But she's awesome. She likes to hear about it and hear about all you guys. So, it's not all about playing games. It's more about, she just has an interest in stuff that I care about, and that means a lot to me. Oh, second battery's dead, and that's probably a great way to segue out for the day. I have burned through all of my light. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. We'll come back and revisit, and I'll show you guys what I did with the color at some point. If nothing else, this is kind of making an ochre, and I really do like it, actually, now that I think about it. So I might actually go with something like that. Have that be a bright orange and then more of an ochre down below. I'm on board. So anyway, friends, thank you all so very much for hanging out with me today and answering some fun questions. Being a little goofy, but having a great time. Look forward to catching you in my next video, which will be up Monday. And hopefully today I'll have a schedule for streaming. So friends, thank you all so much. And have yourselves some very happy wargaming.